Guys, it's your boy and the freaking Matrix. I am here with Dash Attack, and Dante's probably gonna be joining us later tonight. What's up, dude? So we got a pretty interesting show today. There's been a lot happening. One of the first things, of course, you guys already know the whole Twitter Elon Musk thing drama.
X.
Twitter's not gonna be Twitter anymore. There's gonna be big changes, and all hell is about to break loose. I can't wait to see how this turns out. Honestly, I can't wait to see how this turns out because you know Twitter for the longest time has been like the just like this poison on the internet,
Yeah.
and and a lot of people have been moving. Have you tried the Facebook Threads, Threads.com?
No, I'm not even bothering with that.
Yeah, it's like it's too much. I don't like having multiple social medias.
Yeah,
Like
I've
Insta.
tried doing like some of the smaller like Twitter clones, like Minds and stuff. It's just not the same.
Yeah, the interactions there is just not.
Though
It's not a lot of engagement.
I do think Minds has potential if it had more reach, if more people like gave it a chance.
Yeah. But man, let's go ahead and get started here with our first hold on. With our first topic of the day, man. First topic of the day. Hold on, let me share my screen. Amazon Games stands by Blue Protocol censorship. So I know this game called Blue Protocol. I never played it, but it's been
It's
going
not out
viral.
yet. It's not out yet in the West. It's been delayed because they haven't finished censoring it yet.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I like how
yeah.
you said that. They haven't finished censoring it yet, so
Well,
they
but
can't
at
give it to
least
us.
they're being honest about the censorship. But yeah, this was a kind of a stupid decision on Namco's part to just let Amazon like handle this game, and then like they're adding extra clothes on NPCs, getting rid of the jiggle toggle. Like I don't know, like it just doesn't make any sense. Like in my video talking about this, I said that like it doesn't matter what you censored. People are going to hear the word censored and they're going to just stay away from this game.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. I mean, it's kind of like it's the same thing with the movie industry, Hollywood. Like as soon as you hear the words euphemism or womanism or anything related to those things, to that PC stuff, people are like, "Oh, nope, not watching it." That's what happens with me. Like with every movie, like I was gonna watch the Barbie movie as soon as
Yeah,
I heard the
same.
word. Yeah, as soon as I heard the word
And then I heard
euphemism.
about all the gender stuff, and it's actually doing very, very well despite all that.
Yeah,
I don't know, like people say the set designs are kind of great. People saying like it's not that bad, but I read what the America Ferraro feminist speech was, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to. I don't want to sit through that. Like even if there's good parts of the movie, it's kind of not worth it. At least like to pay $12 to go see it in a movie theater. Like streaming, maybe, but yeah, enthusiasm killed.
yeah, definitely. So this game, so this is an RPG game, right?
Yeah, RPG MMO.
RPG MMO. So it says abandoned Namco game Blue Protocol released last month in Japan. Things are taking a bit longer for the international reseller part of localization changes being made. It's not gonna do well.
Hyundai Santa
Wait,
Fe
what the heck?
versus Subaru Outback. Look what Santa Fe had.
I hate it when that happens. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, right off the bat, not gonna happen. It's not gonna do well here in America. I think what people are doing, I think what some people are doing, they get a VPN, right? They get a VPN and they just buy the Japanese version. I should.
Yeah, in fact, the Nietzsche article actually suggests that you can do that, but apparently, if Bandai Namco catches you, you'll get banned from the server.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you scroll down the article at the very end, it talks
Hyundai
about
Kona
this.
versus
Wait,
Subaru
damn it! Hold on,
Crosstrek.
hold on. What the
Look what
freak?
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry
mute
about that.
those ads, boy. Yeah, Blue
All the way at the
Protocol
bottom.
is set to release. Um, For those who want to play Blue Protocol without censorship, there's an active English-speaking player base who use fan patches and VPNs to play on Japanese servers. But be warned, Bandai Namco is known to IP ban players found to be from outside of Japan.
Why would they do that? I mean, why would they do it? Like, if there's people trying to get the Japanese version, why would you prevent people that are using a VPN? Like, is that like a hacker thing?
I don't know. Like they want the player base to be all Japanese. Like, no Westerners allowed, I guess.
But I mean, if I'm spending money on it, like, that's good for
I
them.
think it's bullshit too, Andy. I think it's bullshit too. But I'm trying to think the logic like this, but
Japanese logic.
Yeah, Japanese logic, Japanese business logic. Yeah,
only Japanese people only.
Yeah, or something like that. Like, I don't know. It's like we have to please the Western audience.
Hyundai Ioniq 5 versus
Oh my
God!
What Ioniq
Shut up.
5 has and what
What the hell is
Toyota
that?
BZ4X doesn't.
Damn it. Anyways, sorry about that, guys.
They knew English servers wouldn't get traffic otherwise. Yeah, maybe because if Amazon knew, they'd get mad or something.
Oh, in the chat, Iron Pluka said, "Who needs theaters when you can just, pirate like a chat?"
I disagree with that sentiment. I like supporting movie theaters, especially local non-AMC theaters.
I've thought about that because although there's a lot of crappy movies out there, like, I'm wondering, like, what the heck are we gonna do if there's no movie theaters? Like, I don't want to stay at home all day.
Well,
I mean, I'm an introvert. I'm a person I'm an
I
introvert.
like going to the movies. I've always liked going to the movies, which is why I'm just very particular with what movies I go out to see. So I saw Oppenheimer.
Mhm.
It was great. And now the
Yeah.
next movie, I saw Mission Impossible.
Mhm.
Next movie I want to see is The Last Voyage of Dimitri, which is like a Dracula prequel. It looks pretty
Dracula.
cool.
Oh yeah, it's like I can't imagine a world without movie theaters because, like, what are you gonna do? Just like a movie event comes out, like, let's say like when the Avengers movie comes out, there's no theaters, just stay at home. I guess that will kind of like be good for like home theaters. People will be investing in home
Yeah.
theaters, but I don't know. I like going out. I like going out to
Well,
places. I like going out to the movies, getting some popcorn.
Honestly, I had this brilliant idea today that, for the studios to keep the entertainment pipeline going, they should just hire Japanese writers to make TV and movies
For America?
for America.
I'm down for that. I am so down for that. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
creativity. Bring some
Because-
creativity.
I mean, America imports a lot of things. So because if our writers here suck so much, then why not bring in the good writers that are writing all the good best-selling manga? Bring some of those over here, for God's sakes. That'll help save Hollywood.
Yeah, maybe get
But yeah, so that was Blue Protocol censorship. I know Dante was talking about this. You talked about it. I didn't, I was trying out some new stuff on YouTube, so I didn't notice. I didn't really cover it. But that this next story that we're about to cover, this is gonna bring a lot of buzz, a lot of buzz. Let me share my screen again. Brendan, the anime guy, says, "Heyo, I'll be there in a bit." Yeah, no problem, dude. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, sir. All right, so the One Piece article here, Bounding to Comment, says One Piece creator Eiichiro Oda demanded Netflix reshoot numerous scenes for live action adaptation because they weren't good enough to put out into the world.
I'm glad he got veto power.
You know what this reminds me of? Because the same thing happened with Mario, if you remember.
Yeah.
Like the first script for the Mario movie, like they took it and were like, no, I think the Japanese managers, or the people, the Japanese that were in charge, they looked at they approached the Americans and they were like, hey, what the heck is this? Why is Mario and Peach? Why is Peach like the treated like the main character in the story? We
Yeah,
have to fix that.
it's called veto. Like, if you're like a creator and
Hmm.
have like you should have veto power. Like, that's something like that needs to happen because it works. Like, and maybe Netflix kind of learned their lesson from Cowboy Bebop in
I
this
hope so.
respect.
I hope so.
Yeah, honestly, like, I don't know. I honestly do think this One Piece thing might actually have a chance. Like, it probably won't hold a candle to the anime or the
No, heck
manga,
no.
but I think it might like stand up on its own 2 feet as its own show and might even go off on its own,
No, of course
so
not. Of
long as the
course not.
creator is also a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we go back to Cowboy Bebop, it's they just changed a lot of things. They made Faye Valentine a lesbian. They made they turn what's his name, Jet Black,
Yeah,
right? They cucked him.
they cucked him.
Yeah, because he had a daughter, and then like his daughter was living with his wife that was with another man, and I don't know. It was
And that didn't happen in the anime, I
it didn't
assume.
it didn't happen in the. It was so weird. I'm like, what? That is
What
so out
the
of character.
fuck?
That is so weird. Faye Valentine being a lesbian, and then like they turn what was it? One of
Wait,
the
isn't Faye
character.
supposed to be like Spike's love interest?
Yeah, Spike's love interest.
Yeah,
Um,
and then they just made her gay so they couldn't be together.
yeah,
Yeah, well,
exactly.
yeah, that show must have been made with like extremely bad faith.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that Ichiro Oda probably saw the script or he saw some of the scenes and he was like, "Hey, what the heck is this? What the heck is this? Change this. No, that's not allowed. That's not allowed." And I'm glad because I looked at the trailer and honestly, I thought it was okay. I mean, I didn't like a lot of the special effects, the graphics,
Yeah, some
but
of the special effects could be better. Like, like Luffy's stretchy powers look very like the
I didn't like
CGI
it.
is not good.
I did not like it. I think
But I
modern
think some of
day.
the costumes and the lighting are like really good. Like that whole the killer circus tent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there were a lot of good things that I liked about the trailer. And I'm not a One Piece fan, but I
Me
am
either.
willing to give this a try. Like because with the like in thus far, we don't have any of the drama that we had with Cowboy Bebop. Like what's her name? The
Nope.
actor for Faye Valentine,
Oh
talking
yeah,
crap to
she's
the
not. Yeah,
people.
none of the actors are on X or Twitter, like shouting shit, antagonizing
Hmm.
fans. Yeah, I love how she said, "Oh, like those plus size cosplayers don't exist," and actually they do.
Oh yeah, oh heck yeah. That was
Yeah,
that was so and no,
yeah.
and
It was
then what
so
I
cool
did.
seeing all the Faye Valentine cosplayers just with bustier like chests.
Yeah, and then I did a video comparison because I actually found one of her old movies, and she was wearing a skimpy little outfit with booty shorts, and I'm like, bitch, what the?
Oh yeah,
Are you serious? Are you serious? Like, and I did the compare. That video got a lot of views, by the way. This was back in like what 2021, I think. It was, I mean, it was such a hypocritical move. But hey, it was a great time to be a YouTuber for the least. It's like, you know. But yeah, so yeah, reshoots, lots of reshoots. I am very glad. I'm very glad that Ichiro Oda is getting involved in this because one of the main problems with Dragon Ball Evolution, the cursed Dragon Ball Evolution movie, is that we were told that, oh yeah, the creator's gonna be involved in this movie, but they weren't. Akira Toriyama was not involved in that movie. As a result, the Dragon Ball Evolution movie turned out to be a complete disaster. And I think it's the same for Saint Seiya, the live action movie. I haven't watched it. I don't plan on watching it either
yeah. I
because
think it had a small theatrical release, but wasn't that one done by Japan?
I think it was. I think so. I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
It was low budget, I think.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Brandon's here.
Oh wait, hold on. What's up,
Hey.
Brandon?
Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
What's
Oh,
up,
awesome.
Alucard?
Oh, you know.
You're gonna get a live action too, buddy.
Oh, damn it, they better not do it. Well, we'll see. I do have my thoughts on the piece of one. And actually, speaking of the atrocious Saint Seiya movie that was live action put out that had hope but fell flat. I was at Walmart today. I normally don't go to that damnable place, but I was there, and I just happened to see that movie, and I ignored it. But right next to it was a little movie called One Piece Red on Blu-ray, and I'm like, you
Oh,
know
yeah.
what? That's worth the $20. Let's do it. So I got it.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
Happiness in a box.
that it is. I saw that in the theater. That was actually the first piece of anything with One Piece I ever saw. So, yeah, I'm glad I got it now. Then I'll just have to start collecting the rest of it and see how it actually goes.
Yeah, so we were talking about let me share my screen because I know you have a lot to say about this. Hold on, let me share my
Oh, yes.
screen. Share my screen.
Yeah, we're
and,
talking about how he had the author had veto power on the scenes, and I remember like he posted a really good letter. I think we read part of it last week.
Yes. Yeah, I read this piece from our friends at Bounding Into Comics, and my thought on this is there's two different ways to look at it. If you're a glass half empty, you're like, oh shit, they had to go through and do this. If you're a glass half full, it's like, oh shit, they had to go through and fix this because they were blowing it. Either way, it happened. They had to change something. Oda wasn't happy, but to me, on this one, I will take the half full approach because that means Oda was indeed in charge, or more in charge than just your average everyday creator.
Yeah.
If he didn't like it, it wasn't happening. They did stuff that, as he said in his thing, there were some things that they didn't think would work, but after seeing it played out, it did. Some things that they thought would work but didn't, and reshoots, of course, reshoots happen, but for him to have the final say, puts me in the half full. So
yeah.
I think it'll be okay. I think we'll be okay with this. Probably not great, but
And-
okay.
Yeah, but at least he's involved because if you remember Cowboy Bebop, the creator of Cowboy Bebop was not involved in the Netflix live
Yeah,
action.
not at all.
And actually, the anime director of Cowboy Bebop, he himself said he didn't like the live action. So that's
Yeah,
how
he
you
hated
know
it.
they were not even they were not involved or like supervised by it. And what happens a lot of times is that you have these creators from Japan. They come to California, and then like the people in California, they treat them like crap. You know.
Mhm.
And I think that's what happened with the director of Cowboy Bebop. He went to California. I guess he was invited, and I don't know. I guess he let's just say that he they weren't very polite, or I guess, or like he didn't. I don't know. They didn't really give him any word or say on anything. It was it was the same. It was the same case with the Dragon Ball Evolution movie, where like we were told, oh yeah, the Akira Toriyama is gonna be involved in this, but he actually wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, Shinichiro Watanabe was definitely disrespected.
Yeah.
So-
But in this case, we see Eiichiro Oda literally taking action, telling them, hey, reshoot that, change that. Nope, that's not allowed. I don't like this. I don't like that. That's
Yep.
what we need. That's what we
Yep.
need, because otherwise we're gonna see like 10 blue hair girls in this show.
Well, we get Kobe as a pink-haired guy, but that's how he was in the thing. So. And Kobe's only around for just a short bit, so I can deal with that. But yeah, there was a ton of Easter eggs and a ton of different things that they hint at with this. And I actually have a One Piece report. I am up through episode 105, so 15 episodes in to Alabasta.
Wow, that's putting in a lot of hours into that, bro. That's
Oh yeah, well I have to. I'm covering it at least once a month, and this month or the coming up month is Alabasta, and that's a 38 episode arc. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I saw the 4Kids version of the Alabasta arc. It seems like shit really like goes down at that city at that part.
uh-huh. Yep, there's a lot of I've cheated a little bit. I kind of know what happens, but it has to happen in order for certain other things to happen down the road. So, but yeah, that picture there, I don't remember them doing it with their feet, but what the hell, they do it with their feet.
I want to read this real quick, if I may, guys. This seems pretty important. So it says alongside the trailer, Netflix released a letter from the series creator, executive producer Eiichiro Oda. Ooh, I like the sound of that. Who revealed he had a no compromise policy throughout the entire adaptation process with Tomorrow Studios, which included demanding a reshoot of scenes which he deemed necessary. So the live action One Piece Oda prefaced. The teaser and the trailer are now out, and the launch date of the show itself is set to August 31, which is literally a month from now. I'll say this: there were no compromises on the show, and the festivities have already begun. All right,
That
so
is fantastic. I'm honestly like that. That is a joyous like.
Yeah, it's a good thing. And as I said, if you look at their costumes there, the costumes are right. They actually hit the wardrobe pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, like I remember when One Piece was heavily advertised on Toonami when I was like watching Naruto. Like these look like the early season costumes.
Yep.
Yeah.
As it should. And that's where I'm still at. I'm still with the original artwork and all that, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's great.
There's this one problem here, though. One problem.
Oh yeah, there's no nose.
Well, the Nami. What happened to her chest?
That's how she was. That's how she was.
Oh, and then they grow as the series goes on, right?
Yeah, remember?
Okay.
Oh, hey, Dante's here.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me go back. Dante. What's up, Dante?
Dante.
What's up, Brandon? What's up,
Hey,
guys?
Dante's
welcome.
What's up?
What's up, guys?
I'm just talking.
We're talking about One Piece.
Yeah.
Okay, the live action.
Yes.
All
yes.
right, cool.
We got some good news on it, actually. I can't believe it. We're actually kind of optimistic about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 60% good with it. So.
Oh,
I've moved up.
I saw an article about Japanese reaction to the live action show, and comparing it to, let's say, Cowboy Bebop or Death Note, the reaction were mostly positive. Believe it or not. Yeah, they were.
That's a good sign.
That's a big change because the Japanese did not reacted well to the Cowboy Bebop.
They
trailer.
hated it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the Cowboy Bebop was trash. But then again, they didn't exactly appreciate Cowboy Bebop when it first came out either. That's, if I remember correctly, it and Trigun were very heavily appreciated in the West as opposed to in their home country. It wasn't until later that they actually were like, yeah, okay, we'll do it.
Well,
That's my
it was inspired by Western action movies.
Yeah,
which would
I think
explain.
Dead Man Wonderland was kind of like that too, but it was also, I think, because of the tsunami that got canceled.
Yeah. Stuff happens, unfortunately, and but yes, at least the costuming looks right, and for the epics and the arcs that they're covering, most everything is intact. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing before we go on to the next topic, because Oda says there was so much that went into all the efforts by the actors building the world and the costumes, presenting things in a way that can only be done in live action. The dialogue and the entire process of so many people putting their heads together was festivity in of itself. He added, yeah. So it sounds good. It sounds good. Oh, I like this shot.
Oh wow, that is a nice shot.
yeah, I think they picked well for our man Roronoa Zoro. So,
Yeah.
or as he's known in the book, Zolo. Ho, 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 ho.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a really nice shot, dude. Like right there.
Yeah.
Well, he needs the third sword in his mouth, though.
Not sure how they'll pull that off, but yeah, he's got to have his three sword style.
That probably won't happen. I don't think it will.
Yeah.
not
be
without
easy
a
to
lot
do.
of CGI.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think he's probably gonna do it maybe once or twice because, like, in reality, if you ever held a Japanese sword, if you ever like study martial arts, like that's doesn't really work. Like, it could,
No.
that sword in his mouth could get in the way. Honestly,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, in real life, like, yeah, that'd be like super dangerous and clunky.
And just nasty.
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
and just nasty. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and the
that's
You
very
Sea
guys-
Kings.
You guys remember this monster from the anime? I haven't gotten that far.
Oh
honestly.
yes, that's in the first episode. No, that's not in the
Yes.
first episode of the anime, but it's in the first chapter. It's
Okay.
one of the Sea Kings.
Oh, okay.
The Sea Kings. Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. The fourth episode is when it actually goes into Luffy's backstory. That was the one thing that threw me off between the manga and the anime. Is the first chapter of the manga is the fourth episode, and etc. But
Oh,
we get to see how Luffy becomes gets so attached to being a pirate, and of course, red-haired Shanks saving him and having that look, that look that even the Sea Kings are like, I ain't dealing with him. I'm out.
Yeah. With a B cup.
yeah. I was just noticing those.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that was bad, Andy. Bad Andy.
I must
Go to
admit,
horny jail.
the look of her has grown on me. So I will say that.
I'm
At
so
first, I was
stupid.
like, "Who the hell is this? That ain't Nami." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess I can see that now."
Yeah. No, I like that, but I like the costumes. I like Luffy, how he looks. They look good here. I can't complain. We can't complain too much.
Yeah, like I'm very much opposed to live action, but surprisingly, I'm not completely against this. I am willing to give it a shot and see where it goes.
Yeah.
I'm willing to watch it, and I have an open mind about this one.
My biggest problem is with the going Mary. The ram's head is, it's wrong, but you have to adapt some things, and someone decided that was the best one, so Oda said he had to approve it, so we'll deal with it.
Yeah. Oh, when the screenshots for the ship came out, a lot of Americans thought that this was like satanic because of the behemoth image.
Oh, that's just ignorance.
Baphomet.
It's supposed to be.
It's a goat. It's just a goat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like that. It's no. Oh man.
I think that's it. All right, so that's it for One Piece. Let's move on to the next one, which is, hold on a second. I think
Hello.
Dante covered this one.
I did.
I think you did. Hold on a second. Da, 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 da. Here we go. Well, I think one of you covered it, didn't you?
That was Dante.
Oh,
Okay,
that
yeah.
was me.
Yeah, Megami no Cafe Terrace disappoints by not removing the censorship Kudasai. So this is I guess this is the DVD, right? The Blu-ray DVD.
Yeah, the Blu-ray DVD was censored, and it's become. I don't know if it happens a lot, to be honest with you, but I've seen a few cases where it has happened, like Beast Tamer, and I believe there's another anime where it happened, where now they're starting to censor the DVD like they would censor the live stream, like not the live stream, the streaming like Crunchyroll or High Dive, which I think is absurd because if you're buying a DVD, you'd want full content, right? Plus additional content, like
Like if that was the standard before, there's no reason why that should change.
absolutely.
Yep.
If that was the standard before, and we've had this standard for literally years, why do they feel the need to change it now? That's the whole beauty of buying a DVD. One, you're supporting the market, anime, manga, whatever the case may be, but you're also supporting your favorite creation. And that being said, you want everything to be uncensored. Doesn't matter what it is. 'Cause my thing
What's
is
the
like,
point?
Well, exactly. What's
know?
the point? If I could watch the exact same thing on Crunchyroll, right? Why would I go ahead and buy it on DVD for the exact same? I mean, you could buy it to own it. To be fair, I understand that, but like some people buy it to see it uncensored because they can't see it uncensored on the stream like High Dive.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
this is a bit disappointing. I don't know if this is the direction they're going to go from now on, but if that is the case, I think they're
A
going to
waste of money.
Yeah, it's a waste of money, and they're gonna lose money because people are less inclined to buy DVD if they know
Well,
to be censored
well,
prior
I
to
mean,
that.
if it's the Japanese companies like doing the censorship, like and censorizing, like the Japanese fans are going to have to reach out and like say, hey,
Hey, what are you doing?
yeah,
Yeah, that's the only way it's going to change, because they're basically taking on the Western woke wanker aspect of this, where it's one thing to censor it for the TV broadcast, dependent upon the rating that you've got for it, our equivalent of a TVMA or a 14.
Agreed.
That's one thing, but you're absolutely right to extend that to the physical media release is just beyond stupid, and it I do think it would hurt the secondary market, so the Blu-ray market, for them to do that, but someone somewhere is thinking either no, or they have their head so far up their own ass that they're like, NPC at this point and just doing it just to appease the Western woke wankers. One of the
Right.
two. One of the two.
And I agree. That was my first assumption too, Brandon, was
yeah. But the funny
maybe
thing is,
they're
most of
censoring
those,
it to not hear whining and crying from the people on the West. So they figured, screw it, just
I
censor it
mean,
all.
were those people even like buying hard copies anyway? You'd think like it's so much
Probably
more
not.
convenient to like get a Crunchyroll or High Dive subscription.
Well,
Right.
how does the Japanese get it? That's my question. I know that they make them available for physical, but when you look at Japanese culture as it stands today, how many people there actually have the space to be doing collecting, like, let's say, how we can here in the West?
Right.
There's a disconnect there between that. If you look, if you were to go and just randomly browse, homes available in Japan, how much space there is. They're typically living in very tiny places, and collecting anything physical as collectibles, or just to have it there, it's not as common as it used to be. Space has a very high premium, and actually, I do have a lawyer friend of mine that
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw you had a Legal Mindset on your channel.
legal mindset. He's lived in Korea. He's now in Thailand, but he goes to Japan. But he is extremely minimalist, precisely because of those reasons. If you need to move, and it's hard to take stuff with you, but even in the places that he's renting, they're not expensive, but they're also not cheap, and they're just not that big. Space over there is such a high commodity, a high premium, that doing physical media collecting like this just, I don't think, is something as viable as it used to be, or would have been by necessity, because we didn't have streaming, or we didn't have digital ways to store these things. So
Yeah. So
yeah, so to me that makes sense why they're doing this, is because people there are not buying it in the numbers to justify putting up with the Western woke wankers. So
I see.
hold on a second. Wait a minute. But I mean, let's think about this for a second. So you're saying that they censor it anyways because, like, they don't have to. You said put up with the Western wankers.
yeah, they don't have to then worry about their creations being censored because they're doing it themselves. They're basically, more or less, they're kowtowing in that respect. But at the same time, if the people in Japan, if this was really such a huge no and bugaboo for them, then they would be the ones bitching and moaning to these people and not buying their stuff, or writing to them and saying, "Hey, why the hell are you doing this? Why don't you just keep it up the way that it was?"
Okay. I see. I
So
see what you mean.
something's
I see what you
changed.
mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, like you're
I see what
so
you mean.
like the physical market might not be as prevalent in Japan. So
No, not for this.
They're expecting more Westerners to buy it than the Japanese. That's why. Okay, makes
That's
sense.
what it looks like, and
Makes
whereas
sense.
it's typically the opposite for the manga. They sell their light novels and their manga up and down the street. Seven
Oh yeah,
ways to
manga.
Sunday.
But I mean, when it comes to the manga, like even like old people buy manga.
Yeah.
It's not like over here where like a lot of people still think that comic books are just for kids. So
Yeah, so the reading for them is more important. And if I remember correctly, with how the finances of all this work, the books, the manga, and the light novels is where the money is at. There is little to no money in making the anime. The anime is basically there just
I
to
hear
promote the books.
the anime is like the commercial for the actual series, which is in the hard copy, the light novel or the manga.
Which is so strange because I've got a few other friends that are a little older than me, 50, 55-ish, that have been buying this stuff for years, even back in the 80s, and have been to Japan and all that, and they all tell me the same thing. The manga is where it's at. That's where the creators make their money. The animes, there's no money in it. They are just a glorified commercial. And unfortunately, the people that drive them,
commercial.
Yeah, a very expensive commercial, but they don't expect to make profit off of that. They expect to make the money off of the manga, which, if you look at it, just like a Chainsaw Man, the first season of that.
Yeah.
There were fewer copies of it sold than the prawn parody of it in their home country. And they haven't even released it here on physical media, just there. But that's just the current state of things, and I know we shouldn't complain too much about the cost of buying physical media anime, because compared to how it used to be, it's reasonable. But I about had a heart attack seeing part 1 of Spy Family, 12, 13 episodes for $40. I about shit myself with that. But then I think, okay, back in the old Suncoast days, you got 2 episodes of a show on a VHS for like $30. Let's see which one outweighs the other.
But you know what it is too? The culture has changed, whereas like things are so portable. Like now, you buy a laptop, right? You buy a laptop, it doesn't even come with a DVD player, right? I bought 2 laptops, right? I have a gaming laptop, which is pretty expensive, and another one that's like a 2-in-1, tablet computer, right?
More portable, yeah. Yeah,
more portable. So, things are just made to be portable now. So, it has no DVD player, right? And it's the same thing. Well, I had to buy an external DVD driver.
Well, actually, So, I tried watching a DVD on my PC. I actually, impulsively bought the 1990s Addams Family cartoon series because because I had Wednesday on the mind, and so I tried putting that in. It didn't work, and so I had to actually buy a DVD player from the Microsoft store, for a DVD app.
Well, there are reasons for that. For one, the codecs that are used, they're not open source. They were, we're talking 30, 35-ish, roughly year-old pieces of technology, or at least the patents to get it started. For any of these codecs that are used, they're typically in development for about 5 to 10 years before they actually start to get in use, and then it doesn't become mainstream for, assuming that it does, for at least another 10 years. So the current standard H.264, it's been in use for over 20 years, but it's only been just within, let's say in the era of YouTube, really when YouTube really started to hit at about 2015, that's when it became the predominant one, and that's when most of the Blu-rays moved away from VC9 to it. And then for the 4K, they're using 265, but both of those are proprietary. If you have a program that can decode the discs, that part of it does cost money. So it doesn't surprise me that to pay money for that. But there's always VLC. There's always VLC. That's a good program and it's free. Some IT advice from the anime guy.
There you go. There you go.
Nice. Like it. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, baby. What do we got here? Oh yeah. This has to do with it looks like the comic book industry in America is finally admitting that comic books are not doing so well. I used to do a lot of these reports.
No
What?
way. Shocking.
No.
Who would have guessed that, right? I had no freaking idea.
All right,
Wow.
here's one for you. I heard recently that I think it was at San Diego Comic Con that it was admitted by Dark Horse
Yes.
Dark
Yes.
Oh
Horse.
yes,
I think Andy
yes,
covered
yes.
that too.
I
Yeah.
covered that.
1% of their stuff that they actually either make or that they put out
Yeah.
brings in 66% of their revenue, and that's manga.
Yeah, and keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Dark Horse, they don't publish a lot of, like, I know Berserk is published by
What's up,
Dark
Anime
Horse.
Night?
I know that Dark Horse publishes Lone Wolf and Cub, but they don't have like a huge library of manga, that they publish. So 1% manga is 1% of their catalog, and it makes 66% of sales.
That's insane. You would
So-
think that with that they would do more of that, but sometimes some habits die hard. And actually, I'll be right back, gentlemen. I'll be right back.
No problem, man.
Okay, yeah.
No problem. So so here ICV2, I used to do a lot of these videos, like covering like manga sales, comic book sales when I
Yeah.
started my YouTube channel, because like in 2020, 2021 there was, the buzz was that, comic books were dying, manga was like just overtaking. But I wanted to go back to this because now they're saying comic sales lag in weak spring. Oh, in
Wow.
the spring only in the spring.
Only in the spring. Wow.
Right. Says comic book retailers reported weak sales for spring 2023, which was basically from January to April. Oh, really? Really, dude? We would have never guessed. And it says usually the case when comics or any entertainment medium has a sustainable period of lackluster engagement, there's general agreement that the problem is between the covers of the books that are coming to the market, especially from Marvel and Comics and DC. Marvel and DC, the big two.
Right.
Nobody talks about the other ones. So, it says asked about Marvel and DC sales. Bob, how do you pronounce that name? Schaffer.
Trevor?
Yeah, I think Schaefer.
Schaefer of Dragon Slayer Comics and Fantasy in San Antonio, Texas, had much of the same observation. Says they're trending down because many retailers that I've spoken to, including myself, don't really see that there's much of a coherent editorial vision with them. He told us they're chasing the same thing or chasing whatever they believe is the hot new thing. So yeah, it's the shiny object syndrome. They're just kind of like following trends instead of focusing on writing
It's
something good.
The modern
Right.
audience syndrome.
Because I mean, take a look. Think about it. We're in 2023, and I think from 2019 till now, we've had like 1980s nostalgia for a while. We've had it for a while now. I think maybe before that.
Yeah, it was 80s nostalgia for a while. It's kind of shifting to 90s nostalgia.
Yeah, 90s nostalgia. So we're bringing back the 80s. Something that is old into modern day. So it's got nothing to do. You don't have to follow trends to do well. It's just that 1980s stories and movies were freaking good, but they don't know that. They don't understand that for some reason.
Yeah, and 2000s nostalgia is coming, especially when that
Oh, yeah.
Sonic movie comes out.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for Sonic 3.
Yeah,
Shadow's
I
gonna come in.
just hope they can, this writers and Hollywood thing gets like sorted out so they can actually make it in time and deliver it on time.
And not just that, I need them to fully encapsulate the awesomeness of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and Sonic Adventure and put it in movie form. If they
Yes.
can't encapsulate them, I'm talking about having the GUN machines, the robots, Shadow, all. I want them to really go ham.
Well, they set up Gun and Shadow in Sonic 2.
In Sonic 2, I saw that and I was slightly impressed. I was like, okay, I see Gun, and they're doing it. I need them to continue. And also, I prefer Eggman fat. However, I will say that Jim Carrey killed his role as Eggman. So
Did you hear about Christopher Lloyd, Dante?
I did not hear about that.
Yeah, so he got cast in the Knuckles show, and I was wondering who could they possibly cast be him at his age.
It could be Eggman, right? Or wait,
Gerald.
Robotnik.
It's Gerald Robotnik.
Yes, exactly. Yes, perfect.
Yes, that's perfect.
I can see that.
That
Go
has
ahead,
to be
go ahead.
who he's playing.
I could definitely see that. And if they can pull that off, bro, I would be completely freaking amazed how at least they're trying to keep it close to the lore in terms of not the comic per se, but at least per gaming, they're trying to keep it close, and I respect them for that. If they can do that and keep this going, I have high hopes for part 3. I do wish they had not done Shadow immediately and went to say Metal Sonic first before they went to Shadow, but I don't mind the skip.
My theory is we're going to find out Eggman's alive at the end of Sonic 3, and he's going to be like finishing up Metal Sonic.
Metal Sonic, right?
Yeah, and then like they'll do some Sonic Heroes like type of thing.
See that?
I
can
love
see.
Sonic Heroes.
Maybe they'll blend Sonic Heroes and Sonic CD together.
See, I can see that. So they could probably like skip Adventure, do Adventure 2 Battle where they meet Shadow and they go to the Space Colony arc and stuff like that, and they'll do that, and then they'll do Sonic Heroes in the movie version where they all team up to battle a Metal Sonic, which I would honestly love to see. If they didn't do a good job in the first 2 movies, I wouldn't be excited, but because they did well on the first 2, I have some hope for this.
Jeff Fowler and his team have definitely like proven themselves.
Right, but this is an example of how live action should be. I'm not saying. I'm sure you could agree too, Dash, that we get live action not going to be word for word per gaming or manga or comic, but at least be so close to that. Oh shit! Like it could relates to what's going on the big screen, you know?
Yeah, like capture the spirit. Like if you have to change like some lore aspects to make it fit with what you're doing, that's fine, but keep it as close as possible.
Absolutely. And that's what big Hollywood is not getting. Like, bro, watch Sonic and learn from what they did. That's what you have to do. Listen, we can admit that Sonic is not perfect, but goddamn, it's close enough to perfect.
It really, I am very like satisfied. They really kicked ass with that second movie.
Seriously, as a big Sonic fan, like in gaming wise as I am, when I saw the movie, I didn't leave there disappointed. I was like, okay,
it was a fun movie.
I was like,
the first one like had a lot of promise, and then like they completely expanded on it in the second one, and you know this third one is going to be like an Avengers movie, like you know with the hype is going to be so big.
Legit.
Assume if they can get like this whole strike thing going, because if they can't, because then they'll lose Ben Schwartz, and then they'll lose like a bunch of the other live action actors, and
right.
I mean, like, so what's good is, you know, my thing for Shadow, one of my biggest videos is why Bale should play Shadow. And, you know, since he has dual citizenship, he can break the strike. He doesn't have to follow.
Okay, I can see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, so if they decide to get his voice for Shadow, he can do it. I guess he just have to do his recordings outside the United States.
All right, I see what you mean. I mean, honestly, if they gotta take their time and work on it, I understand because of the whole strike thing. Do I want it sooner? Yes, but if they gotta take their time and work on it,
I mean, they were going to set it to release. Assuming like it doesn't get delayed, it's going to release on the same day Adventure 2 came out. Like, so that's a timed release.
Yeah, everything.
Comment in the comment section. Sorry, anime guy, real quick. Shadow and Rouge or Knuckles and Rouge? Wow, that's a really good question. I like Shadow and Rouge. But
that's what that means. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Wait, hold on. Wait,
Shadoge,
Rouge,
and Knuckles and Rouge. Yeah.
That's what you do with shipping. You combine the names together.
Oh, what the heck?
It's odd. I read it and I had to pause. Like, that's what that means. I like Knuckles and Rude because they're both treasure hunters.
Yeah, and they're both kind of like edgy and.
Yeah, they both hunt for the emeralds and the chaos and master emeralds and other stuff like that. So I like them together because their personalities kind of mesh together. But Shadow and Rouge also works oddly, so I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I see Shadow get paired with Amy a lot because of like their brief interaction in Sonic Adventure 2.
True, but I feel like Sonic and Amy have a bigger history, and I don't see Amy leaving Sonic. She has a big like love for him, and Sonic needs to stop being this free spirited guy. I mean, it works, but God dang, show
Yes.
Amy some love. Like,
Yeah, Sonic's a jerk
Come
to
on.
Amy. Like, and that's the thing. Though, if you played Sonic Frontiers, I feel like Amy's starting to, like, kind of accept that, like, okay, like maybe Sonic's not into me.
yeah, like Sonic's like weirdly just. I think there's more characters in the Sonic lore that he may be interested in that's not Amy. But if that's the case, then I guess Shadow could go with Amy. Then Knuckles can go with Rouge, and Sonic can go with whoever it is in the comic.
Yeah,
that he's
well,
with.
I think we're getting like, shipping, like, I think, like, things get really crazy with shipping because, like
get nuts about it.
we see how shippers are, like,
Yeah,
on the Twitter sphere.
I'm just a mega like Sonic fan. I don't.
Yeah,
talk
me
about
too,
it
man.
Or,
Me
or
too,
ever
man.
on my
No,
on my
absolutely.
We
channel.
love
But
Sonic long time.
oh yeah. Oh,
And all that I'll say is this. Raylos are weird. Fuck Naughty Dog. And yes.
That was like Geeks and Gamers
fuck
line.
Naughty Dog.
Oh man, that I
Naughty
love
Dog had Last of
that
Us,
was
right?
a
Am
great,
I-
like, when
they-
Jerry
That was
Yeah,
like
used
Geeks and
to, like,
Gamers
say
line, wasn't
that
it?
after every video, like, Raylos are weird. Naughty Dog. Talk
Yeah,
to you
fuck
later.
Naughty Dog. Yeah.
Well,
man.
someone on Twitter had posted a thing saying which one of these companies should go, and
I
of
saw
course
that.
I couldn't resist, and I had to say, and it's the truth. Out of the 4 that was shown there, they are by far the worst.
The worst.
The
yes.
worst, by far the worst. And I don't even remember what the hell the other 3 were, but
Me
I know
neither.
damn well they're the worst. Let me see. Someone replied. There we go. Let's see. So I said, okay, Bethesda, Rockstar, Blizzard, or Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog.
Right. Naughty
Yeah,
Dog.
that's an easy one.
Naughty
That's
Dog,
easy.
you get rid
Easily.
of Neil Druckmann.
Too easy.
Yeah. But anyways, I thought that was funny. So,
Hilarious.
but that's true. The worst of the shippers are the Raylos. They are the weirdos. I can understand. I can see people shipping some of the Sonic characters. Yeah, why not? But Raylos, they invented taking this whole thing to a whole nother level, a level that I never wanted to go to. So,
I mean, I'm surprised like people are still talking about
Like,
like
didn't
Star
they
Wars
like
Ray.
they didn't they like stalk
Yeah.
Adam Driver?
I think they did. I heard. Sorry about that. Yeah.
yeah, it's bad. But yes, AAA gaming it's definitely not what it used to be, and it's getting worse. And AA gaming is a little better, but single A and indie gaming is where I think that's where the future's at. And I know that years and years ago, games on the Super Nintendo, the N64, etc., some of them cost, $70, $80 if you got them from Sears or Toys R Us and all that. I get that. That's a hell of a lot more than what it is now. But when you compare it to where the baseline back then was about $35, $40. That was the starting point for most double AAA titles. Then we went to 50, then we went to 60, and now we're up to 70 on consoles that don't get exclusives and are, to be blunt, underpowered. There's no way in hell I'm paying $70 for a game that's supposed to be AAA, not pushing the system well past what they thought it could do. They don't exist. The last true game that really did that was Crysis, and that was on the PC. And that thing still to this day will bring a PC to its knees if you're not careful. So,
Wow.
Damn.
yeah, it's an interesting time for sure. But I think moving AAA games to 70 has been detrimental. I really do think that.
that was really stupid. That was Sony's fault.
Well, let's think about it. What really, in terms of true graphical achievements and advancements, besides resolution, what really has changed from the 3 to the 4 and the 4 to the 5?
Well, by playing
That's the only thing, honestly.
well, but after playing both Final Fantasy 16 and Ratchet and Clank, it's like they can render more stuff on screen without it stuttering. That's pretty like
Okay, so a little more frames per second, but we should have expected that. But what is there that's in these games that's on the PS5 that they either can't achieve on the 4, or once again going back to the 3, what things have really been added to the graphics system besides resolution? What other things have they added to make it that much better, to justify the costs that they're asking for the titles, but also for the hardware? The system itself is reasonably priced compared to what the 360 and the PS3 cost originally, but the controllers are absolutely insanely priced. The accessories for these things have just gone through the friggin' roof.
Yeah, $200 controllers. I mean, yeah, it's
even just a base controller, just a standard, not a specialty scuff or anything. It's $75.
The price of controllers is ridiculous. Hang on, Dash is frozen. I gotta reboot the program.
Oh, crash.
all right. I
Dash
do want to move
crash.
on to the next topic because I thought
Yeah.
it was kind of funny. We're gonna wait for Dash though.
Okay, so
Um,
Well, I'm still here. I'm just getting my
Control, Alt, Delete.
yeah.
Control, Alt, and Delete.
But in all honesty, with the exception of ray tracing, which is still very much in its infancy, there's really not a whole lot else that's changed as far as how the stack works, what's displayed, the method by which they're displaying. You can maybe display more polygons, or your character models, instead of being million, 2 million polygons, can go up to 10 million. Besides those things, there's really no difference. And the way that you can tell is if you go look at Naughty Dog and The Last of Us. Last of Us 1 on PS3 versus the PS4 versus the PS5. They may have added just a little bit of graphic stuff, but it's really not that different
Oh yeah,
between the three generations.
that
8K
remaster
graphics now.
of a remaster is a joke.
Yes, exactly. And that's
Yeah.
that's where I think the biggest problem is. They started chasing resolution, which resolution's fine, but if you're going to run at 4K, which is 8 million pixels, with hundreds of millions, if not billions, of polygons, everything being mapped, shaded, having ray tracing where everything can reflect light or is done in real time as opposed to pre-programmed through the MIP mapping, you have to have some graphical horsepower, and these so-called current gen systems, they don't have it. Hell, even my high end my 7900 XT or the 4090 from Nvidia, they can still they do better, but even at that, to push 4K the way that they want to or that they're trying to on a console and even on the PC, they're still not there.
Yeah.
So
And honestly,
Most
I don't
people
think.
don't even have 4K TVs.
Yeah, but and that's what I was gonna say is that 4K. I mean, I thought that 1080p was really nice, and 4K. I mean, it's okay. I am happy with 2K personally.
yeah,
I'm
the
happy with 2K
1440p
graphics.
resolution is a good middle ground. Little better pixel density. So for monitors for us on the PC world, it's a good mix. We can do high refresh rate at those resolutions without completely melting your system. But it's not so, not down in the 1080 doldrums, which, it's an interesting thing. One last point on this. I've got a mod pack for Skyrim Anniversary Edition that pretty much changes out everything graphic-wise. It needs to run at 1080, 1440, or 4K. It needs at least 16 gigs of video RAM. That's the single biggest thing that these things need, and they just don't have. When your system has a total of 16 gigs total shared between your video subsystem and your RAM, it's just not going to work. You can't do that. You can't, even with the high bandwidth of those, you just don't have enough to play with for the game and then everything else that goes in and out of it, or physics for that matter. So, yeah. Anyways, rant over. I'm good.
It's cool.
Okay, what's the next topic?
All right, I thought this was absolutely funny because Elon Musk is changing the name of Twitter to X, and we stumbled upon a little bit of a problem here. So, Sankaku Complex says Twitter Japan cannot rebrand to X Japan due to a legendary J-Rock band. I never heard of them, honestly, but apparently they were really, really popular. Says Twitter controversy rebrand to change its bird logo to X appears to be facing an issue in Japan due to legendary J-Rock X. That's literally their name. Just X.
Yeah, I remember them.
You know them?
I'm familiar with them, yeah, and I'm glad that they stood up to that. But yeah, they've been active, as it says there, since '82, and
Wow.
I'm glad that they're standing up and saying no, no, bad Twitter, bad Elon. Well, that and Singapore also said no to X.com because in their mind it's a prawn site. So yeah,
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I mean, like
Yeah,
Triple X. It just
yeah.
reminds you of a prawn website.
hmm
So, but then again, if you know Elon, his companies, that's kind of like his
Yeah,
company name.
he's got a apparently X has been kind of a pet project of his for a long time. But hey, Andy, did you see all the Kingdom Hearts memes that came out
Oh
when
yes, yes, with the organization.
yeah,
Yes,
you see them
I
all
saw
over Twitter.
it. Yeah, that was absolutely hilarious. But I think they were trying to call it. I think he said they were going to call it Zeet, XEET, Zeet.
oh, see,
I don't.
I
Yeah.
don't get it. But I did have a little fun at Twitter at Elon's expense. So it's like I was telling my wife, yeah, when you like something, you exit. If you retweet it, you're double Xing it, and then if you reply to it, you're giving it the triple X.
Mm.
Oh yeah, it's I see
Yeah.
where he's trying to go with it, and having some calling it something different is fine, but couldn't you come up with something just a little tiny bit better than just calling it X?
Yeah, X sounds a little bland.
But also, the Twitter brand has kind of been damaged because it's known
Yeah,
to be like the drama place of the internet. You know.
true. So a name change can either be really good or really bad. In this case, it's probably neutral. Nothing's really changed. No one's
Yeah, like people are
dropped it.
bitching about it, but no one's really leaving.
Exactly.
I mean, there's Facebook threads, and I'm like, it's already
Well,
dying.
I think didn't it already kind of fail.
No, like the first week, it had like what I think like 50 million people sign up or 100 million people. Then like
Yeah,
after
I know only
like
two
a week
people
or
use it.
two, after like a week or two, like the user rate started going down by like half.
Yeah,
So
the whatever Zuckerberg is trying to do is stupid and not working. And actually, people were tempting fate. They were saying, Elon, please call it X, because they had their icons arranged on their phone. In their phone folder where the logos, the icons for these various apps, the first row was BUM, and then the second row was SE, and now it is officially X.
X.
yeah,
So he tempted fate, and now people are memeing it. So it's his own fault. But just like everything else, you get people that are all over the top, and it's like, meh, who cares? It's done.
yeah.
Right.
And well, let me share this with you guys. Hold on. I think Dante, you're gonna have to help me with this one because I wanted to share this because I know I think some of you guys play this game, but I mean I'm not a Resident Evil fan, but it's so
Wow.
fun. The remake sold 5 million copies. Way more than Final Fantasy 16, and it looks like it's been doing really well. You guys, any of you play this game? I think it's
Dante,
been
you
very
played
successful.
remake, right?
I did not play the remake. I'm not gonna lie. I did not play
Oh
the
yeah,
remake.
I didn't play the remake either. I own the original on PC, and I'm pretty good. I didn't really like the darker direction of remake, though I hear the gameplay is really slick, just like
Yeah, I mean, I saw the remake, and I wasn't a fan of a lot of the change stuff and
though I
censorship.
do hear they improve the Krauser fight
Yeah,
immensely by actually letting you fight him.
yeah, I was gonna say that. And also, I have a good buddy of mine who does stream on Twitch, and he did say they did better the parry technique, where you can just kind of like block stuff like that. It does look good. I'm not gonna lie. I do want to get it. I'm just hesitant right now. I will probably get it down the line, but it's the game making this much money or selling this many copies is not a surprise. Resident Evil 4 is a very popular Resident Evil game. It's like one of the more popular Resident
Overly
Evil games
popular.
out there.
I mean,
You
it's
know,
been re-released on like almost every console since its release.
Pretty much.
They,
it,
Yeah, pretty
exactly.
much. Well, here's what I do know. I do know that they did change a few things, and I would say not for the better. So censorship wise, it's nowhere near as good as the original.
Right.
Combat wise, yeah, 20 plus years of advancement and over the shoulder looking type stuff. Yeah, it's made a pretty huge difference in that. As far as the story, I think they did tweak it maybe a little bit, but I've never played either of these games, so I just know of these changes because I did see a list of the changes, and most
well,
of them I would say were not for the
well,
better.
the thing is, like they took a lot of the camp out of it. Like Resident Evil 4 has
Exactly.
got a like a commando style B movie plot. Like and they kind of like took a lot of the campiness, the action movie campiness out of
Exactly. Yeah, they basically changed the whole tone of it. And
yeah, they made it like very like grisly.
yeah.
And
And speaking of which, I found the tweet. I found the image. You
but
you just can't make this up.
Wait, what the heck? Hold on,
bum
wait,
sex.
what the heck?
Yeah, these are actual apps
It
on the
was
iPhone. And the
British
way the
Twitter.
iPhone works with these folders, when you move a thing in there, they can arrange. You can arrange the icons. Well, this is the magic combination to make it spell that.
Wait, so mom's
Bum sex.
but
Bum
oh
sex.
what?
Bum
Oh,
sex. Bum sex, man.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
I was reading the actual name below the logo, but yeah, okay, okay, yeah, that's
Yesterday when it changed over, doing the update, it changed the name, but it didn't change the icon unless I scrolled down on it, and then it would show the new one.
Yeah.
So I removed the old icon, put it back up, and it updated it, and yeah. So now instead of a little bird on my right side, I've now got a big old
I
X.
still have the bird on my phone for some
Me-
reason.
Me too.
It'll probably change like a little bit.
Yeah, they'll eventually force the change, but
Yeah, I got the
I
bird
did that
too.
just because I don't want to be confused. But anytime that somebody tweets now, it pops up on my little notification saying, "Hey, this person tweeted," and instead of it saying Twitter, it now says X. Ugh. Yeah, it's special. I wonder if YouTube and all that on the on your about page when you update your thing, if it's going to change from the bird to the gigantic X.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just going to a lot of these like things with Twitter integration are just going to keep the old logo.
Yeah, probably. Ooh.
Yeah. So
No.
I saw one of you guys. I think it was Dante again. I think you covered this, right?
No, I did not.
Or was it
That
Vera?
was
Was it
you.
Vera Dark?
I think
Very
it must
dark.
have been Vera. It was probably Vera.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aqua Plus Edgy Dungeon Traveler Series Steam release canceled due to guidelines. I wonder why.
Yeah,
What
that
in
was,
the
this is
world?
something I'm actually kind of knowledgeable about because I know a little bit about how Steam works with regards to NSFW. So they're actually probably one of the best platforms if you want to get a naughty game. But for some of them, you have to download an offsite patch, which they allow. So like you can buy they'll have like a clean version, but then you can like patch it with all the restored content in it. But then you have some games that are like completely uncensored. Like I shared one in the chat. There's a 3D game called Orc Massage, where you like massage a bunch of anime girls as this orc who's just trying to make like some money.
What the heck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's a prawn game.
I mean,
It
it's
makes
just an
no
attack.
sense.
It's an attack on anime girls, really. I mean, since like what?
No,
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, there's tons of that shit on Steam. It's just like, I think it probably has something to do with like how they look, the age. Like, age is the thing that that Steam's very sensitive about when it comes to this type of content. Otherwise, like, no other platform even like allows it. Like, you won't find this shit on Epic.
Yeah, I've noticed that there's more and more adult games.
on Steam.
Oh yeah, they've. Yeah, I have run into them, and of course the video that starts up, it's like, let's go on a date, and then what happens later on, and I'm like, when did they start doing this? But you're 100% right. It has to deal with how they look.
Yeah, because anime
So-
girls look like they're what, below 18?
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
if it's
where I think
ambiguous,
they're.
then like they'll ask you to tone it down. But like they but like they'll have games with straight up unconsent like tentacle monster stuff. But like it so long as it's 18, it's seems like fine. And of course like there's warnings like saying that like what's like in this game. It's actually a pretty like good system, and like I've actually like, kind of like applauded them for like, but yeah, like like there was times where it seemed like they were kind of like dicing it, because like yeah, like because when you allow like straight up pornography on your site, you have to curate.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah,
make
otherwise
age
you'll-
They
restrictions.
really have to curate.
Because
Yeah,
otherwise
and-
you let like really like dement, you could let really like unsavory like, but so like yeah, like it's, but like they did like they weren't, so like now this all goes into like ethics and morals and stuff. So like like what's allowed, what isn't allowed, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And like that isn't always like cut and dry. But yeah, like with this case, I think it's probably has something to do with like if the girls are like high school age or not.
Yeah, another thing, somebody asked in the chat, somebody asked, what is an alternative to the Steam store? And
There is
an al-
none.
Well, hold on a second. Wait a minute. There is one, but it just doesn't exist yet because Play Asia, which is like this the thing is they're based in Hong Kong, and then they sell like anime products. They're trying to create like their own, what is it? Something similar to Steam, right?
Their own
Their
launcher.
own online distribution and DRM system. That's basically all that Steam is, besides all
Yeah.
the other back-end functions. But
Right.
I
That-
would
Well,
hope
their
PlayAsia
own
could do
launcher.
it.
Yeah, I mean, they've announced it. They have like they have this is my train of thought. But yeah, they have announced it's just gonna take years for that to come, and it's basically gonna be all for all the anime stuff, anime games, and maybe they'll let Western games in. Who knows? But it's gonna take a couple of years for that to be able to come out.
Oh,
And when
that's,
it does,
that's cool. I'll get that. I'll get that like right
Yeah.
away. And
Yeah.
have they already announced what their policy is going to be on?
well, it's basically to fight censorship. To fight censorship,
Good.
and of course it's going to have age restrictions. But if you buy a game like this, it's not gonna be censored. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, that's good. But because like what's good on Steam, there's they allow things called curators. So if a game is censored, the curators will tell you what's missing and if there's a patch to fix it.
Sorry.
Yeah, like I think Anime Titty Concierge. I think that's the
That's interesting,
curator.
yeah.
That like they go over all the H games and they like
Anime
say,
titty
like,
connoisseurs. That just sounded hilarious.
yeah I think that's what they're called.
Oh God, that was funny. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, I hope that PlayAsia does pull something like that off for the PC system. But yeah, if you're wanting for any of these game systems, going even all the way back to something like the Saturn and PS1, and I did see something in here. Let's see, someone had made. There we go. Faye James mentioned PS1 Saturn graphics is my favorite. I technically prefer the Saturn, but only with normally with the pixel art stuff. PS2, Dreamcast, Xbox, and Cube were awesome, and yeah,
Thank
if you look at them, what they could do versus what's being done now, there's really all they're doing is just more and higher resolution. Nothing has really drastically changed since then.
I've been saying this for. I'm sorry. I when I said it, I was like, it just doesn't feel different, and I thought I was crazy. I'm glad someone else agrees. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love my PlayStation 1, and I absolutely adore the Saturn. The only thing with the Saturn is the games that you really want to play. You either better know how to speak, read, and understand Japanese, or find the fan-made patches and then put it on a disc and play it. Or
Like I said before, honestly, if I could rebuy, which I'm trying to do now, I'm gonna rebuy the PS2, a 360. Well, now I have an Xbox, and I have a GameCube already. That's all I freaking need. The GameCube games I have now make me extremely freaking happy. I have Agent Under Fire, Smash Brothers, Adventure to Battle, Sonic Heroes, and some of the best games you could ever freaking play.
If you get a copy of Path of Radiance, you're all set.
I think I have that, and I have that. And I have Kirby Air Dash or something like that. Dude, that era of gaming, I think that's where we peaked. And yes, you could say visually it does look better now. Yes.
Yeah, the GameCube and 360 era was like the best.
Yes. And now visually, yes, things are better. I will admit to that.
Here's what I can tell you.
Yes.
Because of how hard and how expensive some of these things are to get, emulation is going to be the way to go for most of those. The only one that is still kind of is the Saturn, but it's finally to the point where it's almost fully there to where they can not only run the game, but for the 3D games, render them at higher resolutions and actually have them work. So that I for the PlayStation 2 specifically, because I've been goofing with the emulation for a while.
It'd be like fantastic if Ken Akamatsu can get his legislation for game preservation, so we can get more ports on these consoles.
Especially for the stuff that was digital only. Yeah, that's where the 360 and the PS3 started having us go down that dark path. It's a hybrid system. There are a lot of games that you could get that were complete on the disc and you could play through, maybe with bugs, but you could still play through.
Right.
But towards the end of its life, it started to become a damn computer.
Yep.
And you couldn't finish the game or play the game or get all the assets for the game because you had to connect to the internet to get the rest of it.
I hate that so much.
And that's where it's become such a big problem. But there's one game in particular for the PlayStation 2 that if you run it through a reasonably powered computer, it can look damn near as good, almost as good as Tekken 7 was.
Really?
I love the PS2.
Yes.
The PS2 has so many good games.
Well, it had one of the longest life cycles of any console, Andy.
Yes.
About 12, 13 years, yeah. And that game is Tekken 5. And Tekken 5, God of War 2, they were some of the last true prior to PS3 generation games where their developers went completely all balls out.
All the way.
All the way. But those two have been extremely easy to emulate, and with the emulator and just even not necessarily a potato PC, but just something like with a 3050 or 3060 or equivalent, you can run some of these games in internal resolution of 4K at the 60 frames without a problem.
Dude, I'm talking about like when the PS2 peaked. We're talking about Devil May Cry 3, Jack and Daxter, well, Jack 3 and 2.
Yep.
Guys, God of War. Like, the new God of War is fun, but the previous ones, it's just Kratos in Savage mode.
Yes.
I know people love the new God of War. Please don't hate me.
It's not as good as the originals.
It's not as good. I told you, like, bro.
It's not even close.
If you play the previous God of Wars, he is a freaking savage. And that's what I love about the Devil May Cry series. Like, Dante's getting older, but they kept his savageness. He was a beast. Kratos in the new game, I'm like, guys, it just feels like he's like a supporting character. He's an old man. I feel bad playing as him to go and fight other gods. Like, I don't want to feel bad for Kratos. I want to use Kratos and kill gods.
Well, I was actually watching my brother play God of War 5, and I saw like it looks like Kratos getting his ass kicked by Thor in like early on in that game. It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
Listen, I love the game. I think it's
Kratos
great,
was a savage.
but
I mean,
Kratos
he
in
is
the
a
new game
savage.
is pitiful. I don't like the new direction. I'm not saying the game is bad. The gameplay is fun.
It's different. It's a different
It's-
type of game.
Yes,
And
not
it's
the
exactly
one we
right
grew
there.
up
It's a
with.
walking movie simulator. That's exactly what it's really truly become.
Thank
but
you.
that's
But,
yeah,
Yes.
guys.
Go. Yes.
What you guys have to understand about modern games is that from the PS1 to the PS3, and I think it was started with the PS4, but from the PS4 and forward, games turn into movies. So what you're playing
Yeah,
now,
that's
when
a problem.
Final Fantasy
Yes.
16, God of War, Horizon Zero, freaking all that shit. It's movies. They want you. They're selling you a movie more than a game, and they want you to put yourself in the shoes of the main character. That's
Dude,
what
it's
this
pathetic,
is.
Though. Dude, it's so pathetic. I'm sorry. It's so sad. Oh God.
It's like journalist mode got enabled and never got turned off.
Oh God.
I
wish-
mean, I do love the 16, but they really should have had multiple difficulty modes available
Yes.
from the start.
It's a movie. I mean,
a
there
movie.
were parts.
Exactly.
There were parts.
I
of
mean, it was a
16.
beautiful movie. Like,
Yeah.
it was an awesome movie, but it's a very cinematic experience. I wouldn't
prefer
call
my
it like
Kratos.
a walking sim. I mean, it does give you a lot of control when it does give you control.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of like visual like eye candy.
And one, facts, Chaos Smash, God of War 2018 was a walk-in movie simulator. Facts, I agree. And two, and people are afraid to say it because they're afraid to go against the popular thing. Now, God of War is great. How dare you hate it? Dude, it's not the same God of War. I get
No,
it. It's
it's not.
Kratos
It's
and
not.
his
It's
son
not
and
the
yada,
same,
yada,
yeah.
yada. I get it. Fiction. But still, it doesn't feel like God of War. That's the problem I have. And that's why I praise, as much as I
yeah.
didn't like the fan service removal-ish from Devil May Cry 5, it played like a Devil May Cry game. And the story was somewhat the same. That's why I wasn't completely opposed to it, though I had my gripes with the game. But God of War was completely different. It's not the same game. It's not God of War. It's a whole
Exactly.
different thing with the same characters.
Well,
That's
it looks more like an action RPG than a hack and slash, from what I
Yeah.
was watching my brother.
It
Like
is.
I actually played the game, and don't get me wrong, it's fun. But I was expecting the savage cruelty, I don't know. Where he's
Yeah,
an
it's
older,
missing stuff, and it's just old sad Kratos.
It's a movie.
Not
old
quite
sad
the same.
Kratos. Feel bad for me. Like, oh my gosh, shut
Boy,
up. Like,
go get leaves.
Boy.
Versus I'm gonna murder all the shit out of you guys.
murder everything. I am gonna murder gods.
Yeah.
That
So-
is what I wanted. The
But
savage.
here's the thing. This new Kratos is made for the new generation because let's say in the
Yeah, that's
2000s, let's say if you have a little brother in the 2000s, like the Gen Z, they don't know the old Kratos. They know the new
Wow.
Kratos.
I hear you, but dude, like, they gotta realize that. Listen, your fan base are also the people who made you rich, which is the older generation.
Yeah.
You gotta appease the people who made you rich in the first place, which is us. We made them rich.
Yeah.
We bought
And
their
it's my
game.
generation that now has the money, or more so than what
Exactly.
the millennials or the Zs.
We're the
It's
ones
us
who
got
as
the
Gen
money.
Xers that have the money now, but they prefer to chase the. They
The
always
newbie.
prefer to chase the ones that don't have the money. And yeah, the guy that voices Kratos now, he was Tel C in the
Yeah,
Stargate
great
series.
character. He's a great voice
Yeah.
actor.
He's
too.
an excellent voice actor, but going back to how what differences are there really? If you get God of War 2 on the PlayStation 2, run it through an emulator and bump it up to the same resolution, which is, let's say, what God of War 3 on the PlayStation 3 was, which was 720, you would be very hard pressed to really see that much of a difference between the two.
The two. They're
God
they're
of War 3
very
is
similar.
amazing on the
Yes.
PS3.
I hate that they changed the voice actor and I guess motion capture guy. Well, they changed because he couldn't do the motion caption. so they had the new guy. But I actually did like the older person, the previous guy before the new one. This is my opinion.
Was Judge not like always like voicing Kratos?
No,
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 they
it's
switched
only
him
just
out.
from 2018 since he did that.
Oh.
The prior guy they both sound fairly close to the same, but
Literally.
but Judge sounds older because he is older now. So.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, if you ever wanna touch on that or mess with those things and actually see what a classic game would look like being upscaled and processed at modern resolutions, emulation is quite capable of doing that. And it's another good example of that would be Tekken 3 on the PlayStation 1. It actually looks really good when you push it up to 1080 to 1080. It really does.
Right.
And that's an 8-time on its initial resolution of 240p. So just something to consider. And with all these systems, with the exception of the Saturn and the PlayStation 3 and the 360, most of these other ones, between going all the way back to the NES, the late 80s era till then, is at a 98-99% compatibility.
And honestly, to piggyback off of what Anime Guy said, if you think about it, the older games, such as the previous God of War, are so much better. If you think about it, if you're talking about Sonic games, you're thinking Adventure 2 Battle, Heroes, Sonic Adventure DX, stuff like that. If you think about Smash Brothers, you're thinking not the new version. You think about Melee. Melee to this day, I've been to plenty of gaming conventions, anime conventions, and
That's
to
the
this
one they
very
play.
day, Melee is the game that everyone recommends, right?
Oh
You
yeah.
know, my favorite's Brawl.
They did it way better in the past than Brawl was good, but it was
Brawl's
still,
good, but
it was
yeah,
laggy.
it's not Melee.
Yeah, it was,
I know. Melee was revolutionized the game.
Melee
Yeah.
is a god among gaming.
I haven't played that in a long time, man. That's
I have it on GameCube right now. I cannot stop playing it. It's an amazing freaking game. So there is something that they did in the past that they're not doing now. Whether it's the story,
Just Hyrule Temple all day.
I would go to
um,
Hyrule literally and just camp out in the bottom portion and just
Oh
camp.
yeah. Oh, I love that.
Dante. I want to answer your question, Dante, because I think I know. I have a good sense of what it is, and I'm gonna use God of War as an example. Back then, Kratos was an absolute savage, right? As we
Yes.
said.
Mhm.
And fast forward to now,
an
Kratos
alpha.
is
Yes.
Kratos is a dad. He lives in a hut, lives in the forest.
Beta!
He,
Oh, God bless Jesse Lee Peterson for saying
Yes.
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. No,
Beta!
for real.
Beta.
But that's how he acts now. He's so much more timid, but understandably timid.
Maybe
yeah.
like that's realistic. Seeing like what he went through and his age, but like, is it like as fun and energetic? as
No,
the
it's
old-
not.
No.
And Dash, to
Right.
piggyback off what you said, honestly, that's why you play games, to escape realism. These modern games, like, oh, we'll make it realistic. Mother effer, I didn't want to play the game for realism.
That's what I was getting to. Is that they stopped being edgy. They
Well,
stopped
well,
being
I
edgy.
mean,
Like
it'd be
you go
pretty
back to the
edgy.
2000s.
In the third game of this new trilogy, they could kill the kid and then have Kratos like just go back into like his Greek mode and just
Exactly.
I
Go
don't
back
think
to
they're
that.
doing a third game. I thought this one was only just supposed to be the two.
Oh,
that's
really?
my
Oh,
understanding.
wow. So they go into a different, like, story? Like,
or is it that just it?
That was my understanding. Is this was supposed to be just a two, but if they do the third, then yeah, they could have Kratos snap back into his alpha status instead of being a
Yes.
beta.
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 Yeah, so it's just like games just stop being edgy. Like they think that violence is bad. We
Well,
can't
I-
promote
you know-
violence, so we have to turn
who gives
beta
me
in.
Kratos vibes because I actually did play Chains of Olympus, so I know how old Kratos used to be.
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't he
So
like 40, 50?
yeah, so Clive has Kratos vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't
Yeah.
you have a Final Fantasy 16 story you wanted to
Oh yeah, it was about the DLC, but I just remember. I think we covered that in the last one of the last episodes.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, like there's nothing definite, but we all know it's coming.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so I
FF14
I
They can't
skipped
help
it.
themselves.
That's
They just
interesting.
can't help themselves with stuff like that. And personally, I'm glad that I'm not playing 16. I don't plan on ever getting a PS5. I've got my Series X, but that's more for the girls.
It's going to come to
and all
PC
that.
eventually. It'll get
Eventually,
a nice PC
Yeah.
release with more content. Like I just couldn't wait. That's the
You know
thing.
something?
Yeah.
I already want to sell my PS5.
What?
I don't blame you.
No.
I don't
Like
blame
I
you.
feel like selling it now because it's like there's just not a lot of games that I want to play on it.
Yeah,
That's the
really,
problem.
truly, what is on there that is exclusive to it that's not eventually going to be somewhere else in a better version
Well,
of it?
for me, it was like the horrendous time I had trying to load Hogwarts Legacy on my current computer. I mean, I
Yeah.
might get a better one at some point, but I don't have it yet.
Oh, and you
Yeah,
see,
Hogwarts Legacy. That was. Yeah,
yeah,
that was.
that's a rough game, but see, that's my problem. I've never had a potato PC. I have always, since I became an adult, have been closer to the bleeding edge. It's pretty rare for me to get behind, but I'm the oddity of that.
I gotta ask you. I have to ask you. How much did you spend on your PC? Come on, bro.
Oh,
Come on.
that's a good question. Yeah, I actually want to hear that.
Okay.
10,000. 10,000. I bet you.
No way.
On this current one, no, but I can tell you that from 2000 to 2006, I easily spent 10 grand. Easily.
Oh wow!
Well, let's see. I started this last round of upgrades. I only had the one computer for a while, but because of the virus of unknown origin that shall never be mentioned again, the kids started being home. So I had started doing an upgrade to my PC, first time in 5 years, and I think initially with it I dropped 1,000. Then I moved all of it over to the second computer for the kids for school, and then for them effing around on it because I didn't want them effing around on my computer anymore. Then I built another one. That was probably about another 1,000. So those two are pretty close to identical. Then the start of the upgrade process with this guy, I couldn't get a GPU to save my life because, end of 2000. But from time then to now that it's completed, the computer itself, I want to say, is about 2,000 to 2,500. My monitor
Okay.
was 500. My spare monitors were 100 and just 100 each because they're side monitors, and then everything for the streaming stuff. I think I've easily spent like $1,500 on the various cameras, the various mics, the various setups until I finally got what I'm using now, which is what I'm the most happy with. But I've gone through 5 mics, 4 cameras, 2 main monitors. The monitor I have now is $500, but I actually had one before, which my one kid now uses, was $300. Yeah, easily grand total since the coof, 6,000-7,000 in total for everything. Easily. So yeah, I know I sound like I'm Mr. Moneybags over here, but I'm really not. That's just little pieces at a time when I could afford it.
Well, yeah.
I get you. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Honestly, that's the great thing about PCs that you can build it, little by little. Because yeah, man, I would get me a PC, but the thing is, I like having a laptop so much. I actually thought of just buying an Alienware instead.
Ooh, bypass.
Bypass. That good?
Alienware is nowhere near as good as they used to be. Ever since Dell bought them out years ago, it's just been a
Dell
steady
bought them out?
decline. Oh yeah,
Aw,
they bought
man.
out Alienware like 15 years ago.
Ooh, yeah.
It's sad, but
I don't like
laptops
Dell.
are a completely different breed. And for myself, I've never cared for laptops. It's a personal thing with me. I've always built my own computers. If I need to swap something, it's much easier to do. And if I really have the coin or want to get a GPU upgrade, I can. And laptop, you're kind of stuck with what's there. There is one modular laptop company out there that Linus of Linus Tech Tips has invested in, and that might be the future. Specifically because the European Union is forcing all these manufacturers to require 2 things on a lot of their stuff: USB-C for charging, so no more Lightning for crapple, and swappable batteries. And a lot of phones, most of the phones now, they don't do that. They're going to have to start doing that again. And then
Oh,
for
really?
laptops, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's geared towards cutting down on e-waste from phone manufacturers, but it's also going to impact the laptop guys. It used to be you could pull a battery out of a laptop, no problem, swap it. That was easy to do. You can't really
Yeah.
do that now. It's all gone.
Yeah, they've been doing that
so
with phones
integrated.
too. Like my phone, I can't remove the battery.
The
Yeah.
battery.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
it's
old
so
Dell computer, I could
tightly
take out the battery
integrated.
with these. I agree.
Yeah, it's so tightly integrated, and it makes it to where the designs are fantastic. There's no doubt that as far as the looks and everything, Apple makes a good product. They make it look nice, but if they have to make it to where you can use or replace the battery, and you can use or replace a laptop battery, or if they even start saying, hey, you have to allow for changes of components, all the way down to the mainboard level, having a standardized mainboard layout for these things. I could see them trying to do that because, that's the type of authoritarian dick nuts that they are. But at the same time, from a consumer standpoint, at least for some, that makes sense. If I could get a laptop that I could literally swap everything out on, but keep the main base chassis, that size, that form factor, the keyboard layout that I like, but I could upgrade the monitor, higher resolution monitor, maybe go to an OLED when they become more available, switching out GPUs, switching out a main board, going to the next step with that. If I could actually do all that and keep the chassis, sure, I could do that. I could live with that. But it's not common.
Nice. Okay.
Whereas on a desktop, or any size, form factor, traditional-ish type computer, you have pretty much full control, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of possible combinations of stuff that you can get. The only downside to it is going to be your wallet and your space. If you're a minimalist, if you were to see my desk and see what I have on it, you're like, oh no, child, you ain't a minimalist. Nope.
Yeah, I'm definitely a minimalist.
Yep.
In that case, something like a laptop makes more sense.
Yes,
And with
yes.
just a monitor, having your laptop monitor, but then having a bigger one that you can actually work with. 'Cause that's what I've got for work. The job that I do, I've got my laptop, I can take it between here and work, but my eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so I have to have bigger monitors to actually work with. So that's what I've done.
Nice.
But if your eyes are still good and young, then you can get away with looking at a smaller screen.
All right, dudes. So you guys ready for the next
Let's do it.
Yeah. What do you got?
next topic? I think this one is pretty. This is, I guess, it's going a bit out of what we were talking about. I did want to cover this. I did want to cover this. So Disney culture won't change because employees are silenced. Executives think they are too big to fail. Companies suffer massive brain drain.
Hey,
Yeah,
Brandon,
so
what's your-
apparently
what's
this
your-
is one of
what's your thing, Brandon? Would you
WDW
say what you're
Pros
saying?
leaks.
What was that?
What was the
I'll
thing
hold
you
off for a
wanna say?
second. Go.
Oh yeah, I read part of this article when Andy sent it to me. Apparently, this is one of WDW Pros
Okay.
thing. So Andy, you might not know him, but he's a big Disney leaker. He has
He is
Clownfish
now.
has used him for a source, and he's just started his own YouTube channel, and he's been kicking ass.
Well,
Okay.
here's what I can say about this, knowing what I know.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole ton of corporate experience, but I've been around the YouTube sphere long enough and have followed enough of this to, I think, give a fairly reasoned insight. So if you can scroll back up to the top with the title there, so I can break down the three separate points. So a little further up, a little further, almost there. There we go. Okay.
Oh, here.
So the rumor. Disney culture won't change because employees are silenced. If that was true, they wouldn't have gone to war with Florida over the so-called bill.
Bill.
Yeah.
So that's bullshit. I will call him out on that. That is not accurate. At least not from that point. I can see people that maybe fall center right being silenced. That makes perfect sense. It all depends
Perfect
upon
sense.
how they define that. It's probably in the article, but just from that headline, I would say that's generally false. So second, Executive thinks they're too big to fail. Well, yeah, it's Iger and Disney. That's been his whole thing. He's basically trying to act like Donald Trump, but trying. I want to be careful how I word this because it can get very vulgar. But have you ever heard of the story about former President Lyndon Johnson and what he would do?
No.
Okay. The story's
I
about
don't know.
him. After JFK was assassinated, he took the presidency and then he won.
Mm-hmm.
If someone tried to come in, swinging into his office trying to get something done, the story is that he would tell them to go F themselves, pull out his Johnson, and literally throw it on the table and say, mine's bigger than yours. What are you going to do about it?
There's a whole song about that.
Are
too.
you
Holy
serious?
crap. Yeah.
I am 100%
Oh
serious.
my god!
There's
Yeah.
literally a song by Johnson.
He just
Bigger Than
pulls out
Yours.
his thing.
It's a song.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's been the rumors for years about Johnson. And I give some credence to it because he's a Texan, and that's the type of attitude they carry. I can see that precisely playing out with Iger because he's done it. He started when he took over from
He's from
Eisner
Texas?
after they, well, no, I don't think he's from Texas, but when Michael Eisner was given the boot and Iger took over, they were in an okay spot. You know, they were doing okay, but their stock was closer to like $30-40 a share. Not too bad. Bob Iger, says we're going to grow, and the way we're going to grow is by buying everything. So they started buying everything they could. The size of their company went from, the parks, their movie, the TV, and then the broadcast stuff and ESPN and ABC and all that, to buying out Pixar and bringing in the deceased Steve Jobs, because that was still his at the time. So he became part of the board. So they bought out Pixar. Then they bought out Marvel. Then they bought out Lucasfilm. Then they really ramped up their own productions for their animation, transition to 3D. And from the content creation side, they went crazy. And then the last thing that he bought, the last piece, was 20th Century Fox.
And that's the thing that's really killing them because he overpaid.
Yes, by about 30 billion. So that
Jesus
is Iger.
Wasn't it 70 billion?
They paid 72 billion, but that's about 25 to 30 billion over value. And he paid it because he wanted to be Lyndon Johnson, quite literally pulling down his pants, whacking it out and saying, mine's bigger than everybody's. That's where they're getting the too big to fail mentality. And I think that they still have that precisely because he's back now. He never left. He's still there. But I think they're also counting on possible other things. So that one I totally buy. That fits exactly what they're doing. And the last part, suffering massive brain drain. Yes, that is also, I would say that is also true. And we are witnessing it. Look who they hire. Look what they made. How things were going. How are they going now? ESPN was sports. ESPN now, it's a bunch of woke wanker fuckers talking about nothing except social justice crap nonstop. They're not on sports. Same with the TV studios. Same with, now we have the same problem that has leaked into the rest of their productions, their movies, their TV series. They all have several things in common.
They all have an angle.
They all have the angle. They all have terrible writers. They keep hiring people that fail upwards precisely because of the last part that's not in here, but it was really
Kathleen Kennedy.
prevalent.
Kathleen Kennedy.
Well, she's still there because of other
she's
things.
just part of the equation. Like
Yes.
it's a whole, like, it's just Iger enabling like the worst possible people to make content.
Exactly. And they keep promoting people that keep failing or keep turning in products that don't resonate because of BlackRock and Vanguard and the whole
he
ESG
thinks
DEI.
that's the other equation of it. They just think that BlackRock can pay forever, but BlackRock is already starting to lose money, and anti-ESG legislation is being proposed in several states, and it's only
And
a
passed
matter
in
of
Florida.
time. It passed in Florida. Yeah,
Yep.
so like it's only a matter of time before what if the next Congress, whoever that may be, not going to get too political, passes cur- legislation that might curtail ESG, and then you'll see a bunch of companies like
It's
dial
already
back.
started.
Yeah, it actually already has, because like even
Mhm.
if you have the ESG, the profits being lost and the brand damage is
It's
insurmountable.
taken its toll.
Miller Lite, when people found their like feminist ad, they deleted it like immediately so they wouldn't get like Bud Lighted. And that probably
Yep, Butt Light.
Yeah.
Assuming that we're still here, 50, 60 years in the future, Bud Light is going to be taught in school on how not to market a product. But turning it back around to the whole Disney thing, all of those things are true. Iger's ego is a massive problem. We're seeing it. The people that he surrounded himself with, they are the brain drainers. Anybody that had a brain is gone. And
I mean,
the
when
proof's in the
Netflix
pudding.
is starting to feel less woke than Disney now,
Yes,
like,
they are. They've turned that page. They still had some stuff in the pipeline that's still coming out, but anything that's really out there, woke winkery stuff, they're either burying it, like you can't search for the fruit show. It doesn't just automatically pop up, and and they've also canceled stuff and removed stuff. Disney's doing the same thing, but there was something, I had it. It's crap, hold on. But yeah, they're running out of other people's money. That's the problem with any type of corporate system or government system that insists upon being Maoist. It only works until you run out of other people's money. And we're at that point where Disney has run out of other people's money, and they can't generate enough themselves to cover that. They are in massive,
Yeah.
deep stuff.
They spend too much.
Oh yeah. Did you
Absolutely.
hear?
Spend
Did
too
you see
much.
the Clownfish TV article? Apparently, they're having troubles dismantling my favorite ride.
Yes, I saw that. Splash Mountain's
one?
haunted.
Yes, I know. The ghost.
Wait,
Yeah,
what? What
Yeah,
happened?
Yeah,
apparently
they-
Splash Mountain is haunted, and the ghosts are stopping the deconstruction of the ride.
Dead serious. It's stopping them from deconstructing
hell?
it. Exactly. What the hell is right? But yeah, it's Disney is just the tip of an iceberg. There have been many other of these DEI heads that got jobs after the 2018, 2019, 2020 race riots and all that other crap that went down. They got these jobs thinking that they're going to solve these problems. Well, they've caused more problems, and now they're all starting to go. They're seeing their profit margins go down to almost nothing. And if a company is doing exactly what they're supposed to do, which is fiduciary duty to the stockholders, if that's their primary objective, they have no choice but to get rid of the DEI stuff. Plus, there is another angle that I don't think is being touched upon as to the why. What judgment came down in the past 2 months that kind of touches on this, but from an academic standpoint?
Oh yeah, the Supreme Court ruling on a particular educational thingamabobber.
Affirmative action.
Yes.
Ever
Yes, you said it.
since, ever since that ruling came down, if you look and read at what Clarence Thomas, especially Clarence Thomas, wrote about it, I do think he has hinted that this is the type of thing that while they limited their focus to academia in their acceptance practices, it could easily be adapted to work environments.
Oh boy.
So the main premise of the whole DEI thing is, basically promoting fake, or what I call faux diversity. Forcing, anytime that you force a company and say, you have to have X amount of this, X amount of that,
Yeah,
they're going to
you're
find
hiring based on identity and not
exactly. They're going to
people's
find
skills.
they're going to
like,
find X amount of those and X amount of those, regardless of how
again,
good
like,
or bad they are.
You've literally seen companies make up positions just so they can have that quota and those benefits and not get sued.
Exactly. But since they said no, that doesn't work in academia, it's not that far of a stretch to say no, that can't apply to corporations inside the United States, regardless of the states that they're in, whether they promote or if they don't promote the whole DEI, ESG, those type of thought processes. So a lot of these companies like Netflix and all them, they have let them go. Because I think, now this is just me, I think they're seeing the tea leaves and they know that as soon as they discriminate a person who is pigmented closer to how I am and say, no, you can't have a job because you don't fit within one of these racial quotas that they have forced upon themselves, they'll sue and they'll win, and they'll point to this ruling specifically for Harvard and for North Carolina, UNC, and basically not allowing racial quotas to be used for determining hiring practices, or in the case of them, acceptance practices. Plus, I really want to ask this question in all honesty. Would you feel good about yourself if you got something that maybe there are people that are way more qualified, but because of how you look, that one characteristic, that's the reason you got the job?
I don't think anyone should feel good about that. Like,
No.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it should be about what you can do,
Yeah.
not what you look like. So if you're underqualified, it doesn't matter what you look like, whether you're male, female, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I don't give a shit. If you're underqualified,
You're underqualified.
you're underqualified. It's just
And that's where Disney has gone wrong. They were one of the first ones to really hook, line, and sinker swallow that DEI, ESG, SJW, whatever three-letter acronym you want to use.
I saw it like as like Maleficent was when I really saw it, and then like the Force Awakens, I saw it, and then it just kept getting worse.
it's only gonna keep getting worse too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, for Disney, it's really reaching its end. It can't get much worse for them. They've turned off their traditional audience. I really can't wait to see what those Haunted Mansion numbers are.
I disagree. I think Disney can get worse.
Oh yeah, they can always get worse.
I think they
Well,
can go down deeper.
There's an old saying that's out there. I think it's attributed to Einstein, but genius has limits. Stupidity knows no bounds.
Oh God!
It can always get worse.
Yep.
Just when you think, it really can't get any worse. Someone does something completely out of left field, and it gets worse.
Yep.
Oh
But,
man, the Disney stuff is it's like so. I mean, like I'm always like watching like Pinnate's Edge to find out like all the Disney Palace intrigue. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious, and
What I find amazing.
Go
What I find amazing is that people there's still like a group of people that support Disney.
Pixie dusters.
I mean, I remember there was Pixie Dusters. I remember there was who was it? There was before I moved out of state, I was living with roommates, and there was one new guy that came in, and I said some crap about no, I was in my room. I was making a YouTube video talking crap about Disney because I really love talking crap about Disney, and I guess he overheard me, knocked on my door, boom, 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 and I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, don't talk crap about Disney. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I heard you. Don't talk crap about Disney. And I'm like, dude, could you mind your own business? I'm busy here.
That's
Exactly.
weird as hell.
Well,
There's people like that. There really
They're
are
like
people
Raymond.
like that.
if you like criticize like
insane.
Marvel, like people will get like defensive. Though, like I hear like not a lot of feels like I don't know what happened during this Secret Invasion special, but
my Lord.
apparently it's like a glorious trash fire.
Oh, it's beyond a glorious trash fire. Just if you look at just the Rotten Tomato scores, and whether you accept them or not, it's another story. But if you look at the trend, that show was hovering around 50, give or take a little bit.
50,
That last
50,
episode was like a 15%. It took a friggin' nosedive straight into the pits of hell.
It was at 13% the last episode. It was that pathetic that
Well, like
people
the
just
two
like
things I've seen
people were
is
just like,
the-
what is
What is
this?
Super Scroll with all the powers and the Nick Fury's looks like he's going to make out with a dying scroll.
Yeah. Well, here's all I have to say about what they've done to Nick Fury. Beta.
Bro, he is such a beta.
Major beta.
I saw clips of the new
How
show.
can you
Wait,
make
I
Samuel
saw that.
Jackson
I don't
a
understand.
beta?
This was not the Nick Fury I thought it was going to be about. He's not a badass. He's a weakling.
He is weak in this.
Well, that's what
sad.
that's
They
what modern
ruined
Disney
him.
does. You got
Wasn't he kissing an alien?
That's what it
he's gonna
looked like.
scroll in the last
Wasn't he kissing an
episode.
alien?
Oh, and it wasn't even a hot
Oh,
alien
my
either.
God.
It was this ugly scroll.
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
here's what I will say about Disney and the core audience. This is what they believe, and I do believe they have some data to back it. And I actually also tend to believe that. So, I'm a family man. I've got my kids and all that. We're no longer the target audience because we're no longer their largest audience. Their largest audience are the current Gen Millennials and the very late or the older Gen Zers who are not married and will never have kids and are willing to drop insane amounts of money on their product and will only ever have cats. Or a dog. Precisely because they will never have
That
kids.
is yeah.
That's their current
Oh my-
audience.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
who they're
you're right,
catering
you're
to.
right.
When you look at their products and how they've done it, that's exactly who they're catering to.
You know
Who
what
the hell would
funny
watch
thing is?
She-Hulk?
They're catering to them,
right, I
but
agree.
it's still expecting their traditional audience to
Exactly.
support them. That's
Exactly. They're catering to them.
Yeah.
Telling everyone else to take a hike or, why aren't you liking the stuff that these, pixie dusters, millennials, unmarried, never will get married type people, why aren't you being more like them, bigot? That's exactly 100% what they've done. And that is why they renewed Bob Iger. I am willing to bet a lot of money that the only reason that he's still there, besides the fact that no one else in their right mind would want the damn job, you would have to be beyond your gourd to accept taking on the CEO role of Disney at this point with all they got going on. But I
Agreed.
believe that they renewed him
a
because
headache.
they are going to sell everything. They have no choice.
Apple.
Oh God! You know what, Brandon? I think
Apple.
you're right. They're going to sell to it. Yeah, Apple is.
I don't
almost like
know.
they're-
Apple has the cash, but even they're suffering slowdowns too because the general economy is not that great. They still have a ton of cash on hand, but it's not like how it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, I mean, like
But
Netflix
here's-
isn't really in a financial position to buy anyone.
No, they've got a ton of debt too, but at least with them, their stock value has recovered and they're closer. They've got 2 to 3 times valuation over Disney, and Disney is vastly larger in terms of size and scope and employees and everything compared to Netflix. But here's the problem with Apple. What type of things, what assets that Disney actually has would work with what they're trying to do? Let's say not necessarily on the product side, like their computers or their tablets or their phones. Let's say on the content creation side that they are doing with Apple TV. What type of things would they want from Disney?
I don't know. They'd have to like reboot Star Wars again.
The IPs.
Yeah,
That's
they
all
would have
they
to.
would want.
Yeah, the intellectual properties.
They could care. They
Yep.
could give 2 flying Fs about the parks, even though, well, traditionally they've been the only thing that has saved this company many times over.
Yeah.
They don't care about the parks. They don't care about linear TV. They don't really care about sports per se, other than, carrying another channel that actually does it. They don't care about the hotels. They don't care about any of that stuff. It's only the
merchandise?
IP. Well, not even really that. That's not their thing. They could, they could make, a subsidy off of that,
Those Mandalorian Eggo waffles, just like
but
Well,
let's
you
say
guys gotta understand about Apple.
Mhm.
Yeah, Apple is a products company. Steve Jobs said it himself. A product
That's true.
company. They innovate new products. They haven't innovated in a while, honestly.
that's because Steve Jobs is dead and Tim Cook is a cuck. I don't care for Tim Cook
I mean
at all.
Tim Apple.
Well, here's my thing. I only use Apple phones and their tablets and the watches. Their ecosystem for that actually does work. Do I like their gatekeeping on their App Store thing? No. Hope it gets busted
I hate their
up.
monopoly, like things like changing the charger, constantly making it so you could only use Apple headphones with Apple devices.
Yeah, that's going to come down, and that's part of the thing with the whole EU. That's primarily an Apple problem because everybody else has already gone to USB-C. They've all gone away from replaceable batteries, but this is the type of stuff that's primarily aimed at Apple. But as far as the rest of it, none of the other products or any of the other parts of Disney would make sense for them to buy, let alone keep. So if they do end up just doing an IP raid, what are they going to do with all that stuff? And then what's going to be left of the rest of Disney? I can see them getting rid of the linear TV service. That makes sense. I can see them getting out of that. But if they do retain themselves as a theme park company, what are they going to do? They would have to license out to Apple to basically keep the Disney characters inside of a Disney park. It causes a few issues, but it's not something that's impossible. But I really do believe that Iger is there to fire sell to save the company overall.
Do you think Sony could be in a position to maybe buy parts of Disney?
No. Sony is nowhere near as big as any of these. They don't have the market cap, and they don't have the financial capacity to really truly get any of this. That's why they didn't get Fox. They couldn't outbid them. That's why Paramount didn't get it, because they couldn't outbid them. Same with Warner Brothers. None of these studios. Well, the only studio that's not really dead is Sony, mainly because the head guy that's there now was the head guy at Fox when Fox 20th Century was doing good, and he turned them around. They stopped doing so many of the tent poles that cost, $150, $200+ million. They have a mix. They do have their tent pole films, but they have primarily focused on the smaller films and films that don't cost as much.
Like Father Stu was great.
I gotta head out real quick. Great stream, you guys.
Yes.
Doing your thing.
Oh yeah.
And I'll see you guys next Saturday.
See you, Dante. You take care.
Yeah. See you later, Dante. Yep.
But yes, Sony is the only one that's not, as far as just from a TV and from a movie studio standpoint only. They're the only ones that's not in deep shit. Warner Brothers is in massive, massive debt, and they have had stinkers, with the exception of Barbie. Paramount is in extremely deep shit because they dumped a whole crap ton of money into their streamer. The same with Warner Brothers. They both dump money into streamers that are turds. They're money losers. Plus, they've been putting out movies that aren't making enough money. They're not getting enough turnaround. And it's the same. It was becoming the same thing with 20th Century before they got bought. And it's now caught up to Disney. They're now going through the exact same problem. Too much debt, not making good enough movies, and spending way too much on anything that they're making. Whereas Sony, they're not. At least in that sphere, they are making money, and they're diversifying their portfolio of movies that they are making, to where if you do have something that doesn't bomb, it's not like it's going to completely kill you. Unlike Indiana Jones or whatever the hell that thing was. That thing is roughly, let's see, they only pulled in about $350 million from the theaters. The split on that is anywhere from only half to 40% from the international. And if it's in China, it's only 20%. Assuming that we accept the $300 million price tag that they stated, which it's not that, it's way higher. They have lost money on the production itself. They're in the hole with that, about $300 million. You can't have money losers like that. And as has been said many other times, they used to lose money in the theaters all the time, but there was marginal. They could make up for it during the 80s and the 90s with video sales or putting them on TV, getting the licenses. They're not doing that anymore.
Remember their whole straight-to-video sequel spree in the mid-2000s?
Yeah. they could do that because it didn't cost them as much. They made money on those things. So there's a lot of mistakes that's being made, and yeah, there's only one, well, I forgot one studio, Universal. Comcast. Comcast is there. They think like a cable company, but their other branches are actually doing really well. The movie studio side is doing well. They've got a good mix. Their theme park is absolutely murdering. Literally a whole row of crows murdering Disney. Wholesale murdering Disney.
Comcast has a theme park?
Yeah. Universal Studios. Comcast bought NBC.
Okay.
And NBC bought Universal.
Yeah,
So Comcast as a whole, they have their tech side, so their traditional linear TV services, internet delivery systems, etc.
Yeah, Universal's been kicking ass.
Yes. Then Universal, the studios, so the TV, the music, and all those things, plus the theme parks, and then you have linear NBC. Yeah. It is what it is now. It's not very good. But they're not losing money. The studio is making money. The parks are absolutely killing Disney parks. The last that I heard, there was only for waits in parts of Disney World was down to an average of 20, 15 to 30 minutes. That's unheard of during the summer. Whereas at Universal, they're selling out. They're running at max capacity to where they have to turn away people. They're killing Disney, and they know it, and they're reveling in it.
Well, if the park is as nice as it was in the late 2000s, then it's.
That's the thing. The park, they're keeping up their parks. Disney hasn't been keeping up their parks. They can't complete things
Disney,
in
they
a
don't
timely
upgrade.
fashion.
Well, even back then, in that late 2000s, the last time I went to Florida, it was years ago. But even then, I went from the Universal to Disney, and you can tell, Universal just had newer stuff.
Exactly. They're keeping up with everything, and then the biggest coup for them was getting Nintendo on board to do the Super Mario Brothers movie and proving that under the right leadership and all that, you can make an absolute ridiculous amount of money. So you throw in the Nintendo world that they're building, you throw in this new Universal Park that's being made in Florida, you throw in the whole Nintendo cinematic universe possibilities. They're set to wipe out Disney within the next 10 years, regardless of anything else that Disney does.
I'm actually going to cover that. Yeah, I'm going to cover that in a separate video. But guys, we're reaching the end of the show. I'm sorry to cut you off, Brandon.
That's all right. I've talked enough today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it was great. It was a great show. We're reaching the end of the show, and we got to start closing. I had fun, man. Like always, this is I love having you on the show, man. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Shit.
Take your time.
But no. But usually we recommend anime and video game stuff, but it's getting kind of late.
Oh yeah.
Well, I do have some things that I gotta do.
What I'm trying to do. So I'm going to be streaming some Raincode after this, and then I was trying to set up. I'm trying to set up. I bought a Wii for streaming, and
nice.
I'm going to be playing Sonic and the Black Knight at some point.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and as far as
all right.
As far as me, this season, most of the stuff's pretty good. Helk is a lot of fun. One room level 1 Demon Lord and one room hero is funny as hell. And if you're up on it, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation, absolutely fantastic. So there's those. And as far as a game, you can never go wrong with Persona. Play Persona 5.
Nice. I'm catching up with the Rurouni Kenshin reboot anime on Crunchyroll. Been
Excellent.
watching that, and the old one is still better.
I've never seen the old one,
But,
so I don't have a comparison.
Yeah. All right, guys. So that's pretty much it for tonight. We had a pretty long show. Dante kind of left early. So, but make sure to follow us on social media, YouTube, Twitter, or I guess X.com or whatever Elon Musk's going to call it. Make sure to follow Andy Matrix, Dash Attack, the Anime Guy. Follow our channels, follow our Twitter and YouTube. And Dante's Rant Room. Follow us all. And that's pretty much it for tonight. Everybody, thanks for watching. Brandon, thank you for being here tonight. And Godspeed, baby. Peace out, guys.
Peace out.
Ha.
All right. And